Here we go, and welcome to the Hardline Sports Talk. I'm Michael Merlo. That's John Michael Masiri. This is episode 117. We've got lots to do today, all across the football world, NFL and college football, little NBA in-season tournament update, and my favorite team just stole one of JM's pitchers on his favorite team.
Damn it.
Luis Severino. Sorry about that. Not much.
6 earned runs a game, man. I'm going to miss it so much.
Not much baseball today, though, because it really is just starting now with the rumor. So baseball next week when the winter meetings start up. Hopefully there's more signings. Quick housekeeping before I ask JM how he's doing. Please make sure you are following our social media accounts. You're liking and subscribing on YouTube, liking on the podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And give us comments, give us feedback, follow. We love that stuff. Always look out for our content. JM, finally, how are you doing?
Yeah,
today?
I mean, 55 seconds in, thank God. I thought you were just going to skip over me. But
no, you're good.
Good job on the intro.
Yeah.
You told me you're going to switch it up a little bit, and I think you did a great job.
10 seconds before we started.
Little chalky though. Felt like I was listening to WFAN there for a second. That was radio major Mike talking right there.
When I listen to other podcasts and they do that, it's so boring. I hate it. I literally hate it, but I'm like, we don't do it at all.
Yeah,
we don't do it at all.
True.
So I think we should
gotta get a little corny once in a while.
Exactly. It's so corny. It's so bad.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe we'll just have something pre-recorded that we put in before the intro, and then we'll do that.
I wish that everyone listening and watching right now could smell the amount of cologne that this kid is wearing right now, because, I mean, you got a date after this or something. It is a lot.
You dress to impress. You smell to impress. My biggest pet peeve is smelling bad.
Jesus Christ. Kid smells like a freaking Macy's catalog right now. I mean,
I got my good cologne on for you. That's what we got on today.
That's crazy.
But we got a big time episode. We're talking college football. That's big time.
College, that is big time. By the way, this Saturday, I mean, if we're not just kicking back, I mean, you're working. That's a damn shame.
Yeah.
I really hate to rub it in your face there, but I plan on sitting in front of my TV during the day with multiple alcoholic beverages and just enjoying the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hate on the slate or anything, but there's only like one game that I'm interested in on Saturday.
You're just munching the chalk. Typical Michael Merlo, just eating all the chalk.
Friday night, I can't wait. Listen, we'll talk college football in a little bit. We're going to start in the NFL, though.
Wait, can we, really quick?
Yeah, sure.
So you can't wait. You're talking about the Oregon game, correct?
Yes.
So let's go over, why, we're going to play a game. Why is Michael Merlo a fan of his favorite teams? All right, so we'll start off with the NBA and with the MLB and the NFL, right? Giants and Mets. Not hard to see. Kids from New York.
Got it from my dad, yeah.
Got it from his dad, homegrown teams. Love it. That's great. Good for you, bro. Mm-hmm. Then we go to the NBA. Okay, it's a LeBron. If Michael Merlo's fandom had a Wikipedia page, the timelines would match up perfectly with LeBron's career. That's basically, and then the Nets got involved and the Pelicans.
I was a Knicks fan. Lost. I was a Knicks fan until 11th grade in high school. Yes, I was. My entire childhood, I was a Knicks fan, and then it stopped.
Okay,
it stopped.
So, and just up and down NBA. Now we're really entering what the hell is going on? Oregon. The jerseys or the logo? Which one was it?
Jerseys.
The jersey. Kansas is the logo.
Kansas is the logo.
Kansas basketball because he liked their logo, and Oregon football because he likes their jerseys.
But you have to remember something, and Boise State football.
And you told me on the phone 2 hours ago that I'm the 5-year-old.
Right, but again, This all happened when I was 5, when I was a young kid, and I stayed true with Oregon. I've stayed true with Kansas. It's been a rough ride with those Kansas Jayhawks. That's a sarcastic comment. I've definitely chilled out on that, though. I mean, go Hofstra Pride basketball and college football. I just, whoever I bet on that day. Right. But yeah, and part of it's why I'm excited for Friday, because that's a big time betting game.
It is.
We'll give a free pick in that. It's a lock. It's easy. Just like the game we're about to talk about, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that in the gambling show, which comes out over the weekend. But the Eagles are 3-point underdogs at home. And the Eagles are 10-1. And the Eagles' point differential this season is in the 60s.
Yeah.
Compared to some other teams, I'll just read it off.
Yeah.
The Bills are at 101. Mm-hmm. They're 6-6. The Ravens are at 137. Mm-hmm. The Jaguars are at 29. They kind of suck. The Chiefs are at 75. We know the Chiefs have struggled a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys are at 162. Eagles are at 64.
Yeah.
You know what the 49ers are at?
Well,
140.
yeah. That's a difference.
You know what the Giants are
Some would say more than double, actually.
You know what the Giants are at?
Actually, can I guess?
Yeah.
What are they, 4-8?
They're 4-8.
Well, they got killed by the Cowboys, so that's already 40 down.
Yep.
I'm gonna say minus 134.
Wow. No way.
No way. Was that right on the money?
No, 133.
Oh,
but still,
dude.
that's
Oh,
damn
by one?
impressive. Yeah, that's impressive. That's a good one.
Oracle. Ball-knowing
Okay.
Oracle.
Calm down. I screenshotted something yesterday, and I can't find it out because it's very relevant
You're
to this game. But I got to find it now again. It's a tweet. But either way, those are the point differentials. And I think the Eagles are coming across by some teams as a little fraudy. And I'm not there. Like, I'm not ready to say that they're a fraud team by any stretch of the imagination. This is a team that just knows how to win football games. They're very talented on the offensive side of the ball. I think defensively they have their issues, but I'll say this. The way we've seen both of these teams look as healthy as possible. The San Francisco 49ers, when they're healthy, look better than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. I don't hate that. I don't hate it because they have gotten healthy, and ever since the bye week, they look amazing. You know that
you're an Eagles fan.
I am a closeted Eagles fan.
It's not in the closet anymore.
Like, I got the Jet stuff, but at the end of the day, you cut my arm, I bleed Kelly Green, right? I'm joking.
That's just crazy.
What I will say, no matter what happens in this game, it's not really going to sway my opinion on the NFC. Unless there's like a crazy blowout. It's not going to sway my opinion on, okay, I see this team as the number one team in the NFC, and this team as the number two, and this and that. I will say, looking at this from a betting perspective, the way that Vegas has given the Niners, taking the Niners 3 points favorites, it's a rat line, but Vegas has been getting killed all year, and it just seems like it's got to turn in their direction eventually. And I feel like this is the game where the Niners are going to get it done on the road and beat Philly. And I think the Niners are pissed off about that game last year that Purdy went down. They're pissed off about, Deebo Samuel saying all this stuff about James Bradbury, saying that he's trash. There's a little rivalry there. They obviously don't like each other.
There's a big-time rivalry between these
Eagles,
two teams.
It starts with their head coach and their city. They have this arrogance about them that they're the best, and I mean they are the best in the NFC. They're 10-1. They got the best record. They made the Super Bowl last year, but I think San Fran is pissed off. They're here to prove themselves, and I do. If I had to predict right now who's going to win the game, I am going to go with the Niners. I do think, however, if these teams meet in the playoffs, even if the Niners win this game, whether it's home or away in the playoffs, it's anybody's game. Like, I think they are neck and neck.
See, this game for me doesn't change my opinion on how I view the NFC. I agree with you because I think San Francisco is better. But what this game is going to this game is going to decide who has home field advantage in the playoffs in the NFC Championship game. Because I'm going to go through the Eagles' schedule right now. Okay, I believe, like you do, they lose this game. So let's say Philadelphia loses this game. Historically, the last few years, they have not been good against the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. And they haven't gone to Dallas and beat them. So next week after the San Francisco game, I think they lose that one. I think they lose to Dallas. I think they lose back-to-back weeks.
When they lost last year, was that with Minshew?
That was with Gardner.
It was with
Gardner,
Minshew.
yeah. So I believe they lose this one in Dallas on Sunday Night Football. So now we're looking at 10-3.
Right.
The San Francisco 49ers might not lose a game the rest of the way. Their schedule is very favorable. So for me, I'm looking at this game as the winner of this gets the number one seed.
I still think that, the Eagles' schedule is very favorable for them after the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
They got the Seahawks on the road. It's no cakewalk, but I think me and you are starting to, and other people agree that we're kind of out on the Seahawks. Yeah. And then they got the Giants twice. You got the Cardinals. So let's, you're winning the last 3 games of the year there. Take it easy with Tommy DeVito. Please shut up.
Tommy DeVito, he might have something to say about that.
It's just they're 10-1, so they have that gap because the Niners are 8-3, so they got that 2-game gap where if they lose this game, they still have less losses than the Niners. You got to worry about that Dallas game. You're right. I don't know what the Niners' remaining schedule is. I know they got a couple more divisional games left, which those are always, on upset watch because teams in the division play each other all the time, and it always seems to end up being close games, and you see upsets in divisions all the time. So I wouldn't say that the winner of this game is going to get the number 1 seed, but if the Eagles win it, it's over. If the Eagles win on Sunday, they might as well just, tell Jalen Hurts, listen, by week 16, you're going to be sitting for the playoffs.
Which would be nice for Tommy DeVito's playoff run.
Yeah.
The only other tough game the 49ers play is at home versus the Ravens, which is a fantastic game on Christmas Day at night. I was going to say Sunday Night Football, but I don't know if that's Sunday. Is it Sunday?
Oh.
Is Christmas on a Sunday?
Okay, hold on. Wait, let's use our brains.
No, I'm just going to look it up.
No. So Sunday is the 3rd.
That's a
December
Monday.
3rd. It's
a Monday.
It's a Monday.
So that's Monday Night Football. There's 3
Monday
games
Night
on
Football.
Christmas Day. That's
Chills.
a Monday Night Football game. Ravens 49ers, one of the better games of the year. I think this is the game of the year, though. I think this is as
This
close
is the game of the year.
to a playoff game as you're going to get this early in the season. It's a December game. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. Yeah. But I think there is something to say about the Philadelphia Eagles, the way they've won games. They've had to come back. And you know what's really funny? Look at the way the Philadelphia Eagles have played the last couple of years. Last year, they had a cakewalk of a schedule and were blowing teams out. Mm-hmm. And they always played with the lead. This season, the schedule's a little more difficult, and they have to play from behind. And that was a question that I had for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and this defense, and they've done a great job so far of being able to play from behind. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts' numbers playing from behind, they're unbelievable. I think his pass rating's in like the 140s or something like that. It's unreal. So credit to them. They've been able to do that. When you go to a Super Bowl, I think you buy yourself a little bit of time, even if you're struggling a little bit early in the season. They've done that, but give them credit. They just find ways to win football games.
These are the reason why I think it's the game of the year. You look at the Chiefs-Eagles game. I think everybody would agree that was probably the game of the year. Yeah. Going into that matchup, that was what everybody was most excited for. But those teams have 2 sort of different identities, the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Niners and the Eagles, along with the Cowboys as well, the Niners and the Eagles have that identity where they have great defenses and that whole old school football, great lines, just kind of run it down your throat, and they could beat you wherever. Their offense is so dynamic, and it's just the roster overall is just loaded. And that's why I do like, if I had to put money on what conference will have the Super Bowl champion, I'd put it all on the NFC. I think this is the year where an NFC team wins the Super Bowl. And we'll get into it later when we talk about the Chiefs and we talk about whoever else in the AFC. But I would put a lot of money that it would be an NFC team. I think one of these Cowboys, Niners, and Eagles are going to get it done.
And I want to talk about Purdy here because, I think he's just a controversial topic at this point. Yeah. Just with what he kind of deals with and the situation that he's in. He's in a great situation. There's no doubt about it. He's got the best running back in football. He's got some of the best weapons in the entire game. I don't even think you could call Deebo Samuel a receiver. He's just a weapon. Yeah. And the same thing goes for Trent Williams. He's just a weapon. He's just fantastic at his position. He's completing 70% of his passes. He has 2,800 yards thus far. His passer rating's 112, 19 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And this is with a couple of weeks where he didn't have Deebo and he didn't have Trent Williams, and still his numbers look like this. I can't not put him in the MVP discussion with guys like Dak and Lamar. And I think Jalen Hurts is in there. I would not put Jalen Hurts in the discussion for MVP, but I think Purdy's got to be there.
I saw somebody made it was like FanDuel's odds for the MVP and Hurts was the favorite or something, and the first response on the Twitter thread was, "Oh my God, Jalen Hurts season highlights," and it was the tush push, every tush push in like 3 times speed. It was hysterical.
But it's like that goes for a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, no, it
for
does.
him.
It does. I saw a stat. He's going to be like the first quarterback with 50 rushing touchdowns or something at a certain age.
It's such BS.
And it is. I mean, listen,
crap.
the reason we know that the tush push, we've seen other teams try to do it, and nobody can do it as good as the Eagles because they have the best
600
center.
pounds.
Because they have the best center in the league, and Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds.
Exactly. No, not the 300-pound men pushing him from behind.
But it's not to take away, like, you see some of these quarterbacks go out there try to do the tush push. They're little tiny quarterbacks. They had no shot. Yeah. You can try to do tush push with Zach Wilson. he's going to be able to do it.
If you just get Zach Wilson into the gym and he starts squatting a crap ton
For
next year,
5 years straight,
you can bring him in and he can do the tush push.
But
it's bullshit.
I wanted to touch on
language.
the Purdy comment that you made. I've been thinking about this whole Brock Purdy thing.
He's fantastic.
And remember how not every week, but every time we'd really talk about the Niners, I would say, I'm not sold on Brock Purdy. I won't be sold on him until I see him in a high-pressure situation and this and that. And I still stand by that. I'm still yet to see him in, a playoff scenario. Maybe he'll show it this weekend against the Eagles. Maybe it'll be a really close game and he'll pull through and whatever. But I want to defend Brock Purdy right now because I think this whole stigma that he's the system quarterback and this and that, it's just gone way too far now. Like, I want everybody to imagine that you knew nothing. Pretend the NFL started this year. All NFL history gets completely wiped. You see Brock Purdy start playing for the San Francisco 49ers. You don't know his draft position. You just, okay, here's his quarterback for the Niners. And he has good weapons around him. He's got a good offensive line, good head coach. He has the highest passer rating in the league. He's putting up phenomenal numbers, winning football games, beating some good teams, playing really clean, good football. You're like, wow, that's a really good quarterback. That's a top 10 quarterback in the league. That's an MVP candidate. The whole system thing and the people saying that he doesn't deserve to be in the MVP race, it's clearly biased towards Shanahan. And it's biased towards his draft position. It's biased towards everything. And the comparison I want to make that I really want people to think about is, why is it that I see Tua praise, and believe me, I know Tua has his fair share of haters, but why do I see more Tua praise than I see Brock Purdy praise? Because they're kind of in the same boat.
Sure.
They have great weapons around them. They have these great, genius, offensive-minded head coaches, and they're putting up great numbers in their system, not, making crazy, acrobatic athletic plays, but throwing with great accuracy, throwing with good anticipation, playing very well within the system. I really don't. Dak, too. A lot of people want to say Dak's an MVP candidate right now. I think Dak's a great quarterback. He's putting up and he deserves to be in the MVP conversation. He might be the MVP right now. He's having a great year, especially past 5 weeks. He's no doubt the MVP. Why is it that Brock Purdy's just kind of getting pushed to the side? I think it's kind of BS.
Yeah, he's getting disrespected. Some of these throws that he's making, it's like it doesn't matter what system you're in.
Yeah.
The way he's able to, Dan Orlovsky was breaking it down before we came here. I was watching a video of Orlovsky breaking down a throw he made on Thanksgiving night against the Seahawks. And by the way, that was supposed to be a quality team. They embarrassed them on prime time in their own building.
Yep.
Embarrass them. He's fantastic. No matter what you want to say, like you said, all I could do is sit there and watch Brock Purdy on the team he's on with the coach that he's playing for, and he does a fantastic job. And that's all I could judge on. It's all I can base it off of. That's it.
Yep.
We talked about it weeks ago that every quarterback plays in every great quarterback plays for the most part in great systems.
And they do. And I don't want to make the Brady comparison because that was getting played out with he's a 6th raise, he's a 7th round pick. Brady was a 6th round pick. But one of the things that made Tom Brady so good is, Tom Brady didn't have the greatest athletic ability and the strongest. He had a strong arm, but not the strongest arm.
Right.
What made Tom Brady so good is his ability to read the defenses so well, and his ability to throw with anticipation and throw in perfect timing and put it in perfect windows. Brock Purdy, I was just thinking about that touchdown he had against Seattle on Thanksgiving night on that post route to Ayuk. That was a beautifully timed pass. He made it look easy, but that was not the easiest throw in the world. I hate to always use him as the example, but Zach Wilson's playing quarterback there. He probably holds on to the ball too long, throws it, and the safety picks it off. So throwing with anticipation and throwing perfect timing is a skill that sometimes goes overlooked.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it in the NFC East very quickly because I think the Dallas Cowboys are a controversial topic at the moment. They are 8-3. They seem like they're the third best team, maybe fourth if you want to put the Lions ahead of them. But they seem like they're the third best team, in my opinion,
They're third
in the NFC at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think you have to have the same conversation about the Dallas Cowboys that you have about the Miami Dolphins, is that they haven't really beat anybody. They're blowing these teams out. I mentioned before their point differential is 162. They're dominating these bad teams, but They haven't played anybody real except for the Eagles and the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
And they played the Eagles real tough in Philadelphia, but they always play the Eagles tough. And they got boat raced by the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Yeah. I think Cowboy fans, I think a lot of people will tell you they have to see them against one of these elite teams. And I think San Francisco is going to be their kryptonite. But maybe they can avoid them in the postseason. Maybe they can't.
Well, San Francisco seems to have owned them in recent history. I mean, they knocked them out of the playoffs a couple of times.
Twice
in a row. And, they, like you mentioned, they killed them earlier in the year in San Francisco. I mean, I do believe that the Cowboys are for real. I think that, we always say there's same old Cowboys, this and that. They're gonna choke in the playoffs once again, and that could happen. And we could just be replaying the same movie over and over again. But I'll tell you, man, Dak's playing the best football I've seen him play in a long time, and that defense is just so freaking good. And that offense, when it's clicking, CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 receiver in the league this year. He looks absolutely fantastic. I think him, A.J. Brown, and Tyreek Hill have been the 3 best receivers in the league this year. And then, Tony Pollard's finally starting to get involved here. We're finally starting to see them unlock Tony Pollard. Mike McCarthy has finally stopped his football terrorism, like I like to call him.
That's crazy.
Him, Arthur Smith, the 2 headliners for football terrorists. But they're back. Mike McCarthy's back. But Mike, as much as I love to say the Cowboys are for real, if we're sitting here, if it's January 29th, not November 29th, and we're talking about a Cowboys-Niners, NFC championship or a Cowboys-Eagles or whatever, how confident are you going into that game about the Cowboys?
I don't want to say I'm right all the time because there's a lot of things that I'm wrong about, but there's a lot of things I've been right about this NFL season that are now coming to fruition in week 12, okay? Or whatever week we're in, 13. Whatever the hell it is already. I can't believe how quickly it's gone.
Each week blends in with the other.
Exactly. So with the Cowboys, I was so high on them coming into the season. I mean, I loved it. Did I have them in the Super Bowl?
I don't remember.
I had them in the Super Bowl.
What were you, the Cowboys, Ravens? What was
I think I had Cowboys, Ravens.
Yeah.
So I was high on this team coming in. I see them against the San Francisco team. They get absolutely killed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're frauds. But they're blowing out these bad teams. I'm not going to get excited about this Dallas team yet. I have to see it against a good team. We're going to see them against Buffalo. We're going to see them against Philadelphia next week. We're going to see them against Detroit at some point, and I think they'll blow Detroit out because I think they're a little fraudy.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
Dallas here, I can't say anything about them yet. I have to see it. Maybe it's just San Francisco. Maybe they can't beat San Francisco. And that'll be the difference between them winning the Super Bowl or getting to the NFC Championship game or just getting to the Super Bowl in general. That might be the difference. But I have to see it against a good team for me to sit here and tell you that they are in the class of San Francisco and Philadelphia. I can't say it right now.
I mean, but what do we always say about Dak Prescott? Because I feel like that's the thing that everybody resorts to. Me and you have said that Dak Prescott is a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with.
Yes.
So when you look at the Cowboys' losses over the years, how much blame of that is Dak Prescott? Sure, he didn't play his best football against the Niners last year on the road. We know that. He didn't play I honestly don't remember. I remember the game the Niners won 2 years ago with the whole running the QB draw and not having enough time to spike it. I don't remember exactly how Dak played that game.
I think he played well.
But it's not all on Dak. The whole team overall has not performed the way they should.
Well, they lost in Philly, and it was not Dak's fault. He played a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. They're not great situationally. Against these good teams, they're not great in the red zone. I still don't
believe in McCarthy. I'm just not a McCarthy guy.
People don't believe in McCarthy. That's fine. The defense clearly didn't show up in that San Francisco game, but lately the defense has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't know what has to change for them. I really don't, because I think Dak, and you heard Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee this week just praising the way Dak has played. I'm a Dak guy. I think he's good enough to win an MVP in this league, as we see this year.
It's the best year of his career. I looked at it as it's the best year of his career right now.
So I don't know if it's a Dak problem. It might be a coaching thing. They commit way too many penalties still.
Yeah.
It's situationally. Yeah. So I just can't trust. I think that
trust
them yet.
I think the reason why I'm using McCarthy here as the what am I looking for? The scapegoat? I don't know if that's the best word, but kind of the blame to put on McCarthy is
scapegoat.
You look at the way. I think the greatest assessment of coaching is consistency. You look at the way that this team is so up and down, and that they'll, I understand the Giants are not the same team as the Niners, but they'll beat the Giants 40-0, and then they'll lose 42-10 to the Niners. It's way too many big waves up and down, up and down. It's about making those waves, the peaks and the valleys, a little bit closer together, and I think that's got to be put on the coaching.
A little bit. Moving on, though, from the Dallas Cowboys, Josh Allen is like a controversial topic in the football world.
Yep.
As the Dallas Cowboys are, as the Philadelphia Eagles are, Josh Allen's controversial. And I'm going to say something that you might not agree with, and I hope you don't agree with. I have not been – I don't want to say that. I'm impressed with Josh Allen and the way he's played this year. I think he's been great. And I don't give a rat's ass about the turnovers. A lot of them are not his fault. But even if he throws 10 picks a year, 12 picks a year, I'm not going to go crazy. This guy is an elite performer when it's not all on him and he's not trying to play hero ball and he's just playing his game like we saw in Philadelphia. He's arguably the best quarterback in the league. Yeah. And when he's playing the way he did against Philadelphia, he might be better than Mahomes playing like that. He's that good. He's a absolute weapon, the way he's able to run the ball, get into the end zone. Obviously, we know he can make every throw. I think Josh Allen is absolutely fantastic. I'm impressed with him this year, and I think the people saying otherwise are crazy.
I agree. Okay. I think that he's playing just the way he needs to be. I think the interceptions, like I've given Josh Allen problems before because he does get sloppy sometimes, and that could cost your team a game, but Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl throwing 17 interceptions in a year. It's not like to win the Super Bowl and to be a great team, you need your quarterback to throw X amount of interceptions or less. He can have his turnover-worthy plays because Josh Allen, like you just mentioned, when he's on, is Superman. Like there is not, you can count on one hand guys to ever play this game and play that position that are more explosive and dangerous with the ball in their hands than Josh Allen is. He is fantastic. And the way that the Bills have built this team and have built this offense and have ran this offense, I really think Sean McDermott's like done more harm to this team than good at this point. I really think
he has to go.
I know he's not the offensive coordinator exactly, but there's been a lot of rumors that he's got a lot of input in the offensive plays, and a lot of rumors that his former coaches aren't the biggest fans of him. I don't like the smell I'm getting from Buffalo in that coaching room. Bro, they never got a running game. That's it. They never established a running game, and that's why their offense is too backyard football-like, too boomer bust. It's why Gabe Davis goes for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then the next day has 0 targets. It's just way too much up and down, up and down, up and down. It's the same thing like we said with the Cowboys as a team overall. The Bills' offense is just up and down, up and down, up and down. It does not have a steady identity.
It doesn't. And
the defense is hurt now.
The defense has been...
they're done. They're 6-6. They're done. They got no chance.
The defense is banged up, and if the defense wasn't that healthy, they'd be better. They'd be much better. They'd probably be, I think, what's their record? 6-6. They played 12 games. Yeah. They're probably 8-4 at this point. Maybe 7-5.
And that schedule ain't getting easier, by the way.
Right. I think they're 8-4 at this point. If their defense wasn't so banged up, they would have beat Philadelphia on Sunday, and I could probably find another game. Mm-hmm. But either way, Diggs, Gabe Davis, these receivers that he has, they're inconsistent. One guy that's not inconsistent finally got it going, Dalton Kincaid. He looks great, man.
He does look great.
He looks like a problem for a very long time.
He got it going?
What?
He got it going. Yeah, he got it.
Did I say that?
You said he got it going, but what is it in this scenario?
His play. He's got his play going. Okay, okay.
I thought you he got it going.
No need to get inappropriate here. This is a sports show. This isn't call her daddy or anything.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Oh, God.
I actually would die for Alex Cooper.
What do you mean by this?
She is oh my God, she's my dream woman. I love her.
Out of everybody that could be your dream woman, it's her.
Alex Cooper. I love her.
Really?
Love her.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll call her daddy.
Wow. All right. Let's stick to sports, please. My new girl's Tate McRae right now.
Let's go. Good
Yeah.
taste, my man.
I was on her before you.
No,
though.
that's crazy.
Yeah. I was on
what the
before
hell
you.
does that
were.
mean? You listen to her music. You actually probably would.
I do.
listen to-
I do like her
that-
music.
See, that,
yeah.
no, it's crazy. Her music's garbage. But
It's really good.
She's
Greedy.
not.
Greedy's a song that she has. It's good. It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I haven't heard it like 45,000 times on TikTok.
yeah, that's good. No, that one's X's. It's her new one, and I don't like. I
What's
personally don't like it.
Myself.
That's Greedy. Great song. Great song. All right. Anyway, the pop
What
culture.
we're talking about?
We're going to talk about the Chargers because they're ass. ASS, like steamy ass, okay? I mean, you can't get worse than that team right now. When you have a star-studded quarterback in Justin Herbert, you've got guys on defense, you've got weapons on offense, and you can't get your head out of your ass. You can't score more than 10 points at home. Like, please. You know, it's because I love Justin Herbert so much, okay?
Yeah, you are like a freaking Herbert meat rider.
Okay, again. I love Herbert. I really do. I always have. I wanted him to be the Giant quarterback. He opted to stay in college. I've always wanted Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I don't understand how he is not getting better. Because he's so talented.
Okay. What do you like? I don't think he's like he needs to get better. I think your just performance gets better as your team gets better and as your coaching gets better. He is great. I think if you put him on the teams, if he's an Eagle, Justin Herbert's great. I mean, I don't want to.
They'd win the Super Bowl.
I don't want to start getting.
They'd win the Super Bowl.
I don't want to start getting.
They'd win the Super Bowl every year.
No.
Yes.
They don't.
Yes.
He's not like that much better than Jalen Hurts. They don't just win the Super Bowl every year.
Nah, they win the Super Bowl. You put that guy in that situation.
He's whatever. My point is he's a great quarterback. But
Great
you're kind of
quarterback.
making my point. Like, yeah, you put him on a better team, he's gonna be great, and the team's gonna be great.
Can
It's just
we get this guy a real coach?
Brandon Staley. Like, if we switched, I really think if me and Brandon Staley switched, I think I would be better at his job than he would be at my job. Like, I think he's just this isn't a job. I don't get paid shit. But
No. You can't be an NFL head coach.
no, I can't be an NFL head coach, but he can't do anything.
No, he's terrible. They got to fire him for the life of me. For Justin Herbert, please, for the love of God, he should have been fired yesterday.
Yeah.
Enough of Justin.
I
Brandon
honestly
Staley.
thought it's overdue. I really thought Monday morning when Frank Reich got fired, I was like, oh, well, where's the Brandon Staley tweet? I really thought he was going to get fired.
I had a thought about Ron. Did you hear my theory about Ron Rivera?
No.
I thought that they would have fired him after they lost to the Giants, but because they were playing on national TV on a short week, they couldn't fire him. It just wouldn't have worked.
Oh,
They
okay.
needed the coach for that game.
Not a bad
And
theory,
then
but
after that, they
obviously
would've fired
it didn't
him.
happen.
Yeah, I mean they probably should have done that, but they fired Del Rio instead. Either way,
I'm
you know
sure
when
he'll get fired in the offseason.
you know when Brandon Staley should have got fired? The day they shouldn't have let him on the freaking plane after they blew the 27-0 lead against the Jaguars.
Yep.
They shouldn't have let him on the plane. They should have left him in lovely Jacksonville.
Or they could have left him on the plane after they choked against the Raiders 2 years ago. Those questionable, crazy calls
Yeah,
he was
you
making.
could have done that too. Yep. So yeah, Herbert's. I guess you're right. You can't even say his development's hurt because he's already developed. He's a star quarterback in this league. His numbers are really good too. I didn't realize how good his numbers were this year.
Yeah,
20 touchdowns, 6 picks, completing 66% of his passes. He's obviously fantastic. Just please get rid of this guy. I don't even know if bringing in Bill Belichick if that's who it's going to be.
Stop with the Belichick.
He's going to be a coach somewhere, and I think it's going to be the Commies or it's going to be the Chargers. So take your picking at who you want him to be the coach of.
I think either one he doesn't. It's not just like, oh, Bill Belichick's here. Like, yeah, there's 3 wins tacked onto their total. I mean,
as long as he's not.
Look at the Patriots right now.
Yeah,
they're not winning shit.
The problem with the Patriots is he's the GM, and he can't be the GM. If you're telling me he's the coach, I think we have to separate that.
Say it. By the way, Mac Jones, say it. Say it.
Yeah, no comments at this
time. Say it, please. You got to say it.
He's like,
say it.
Mac Jones, because I got to watch a little bit Mac Jones this week against my G-men. He's got to be one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. I mean, if I was talking crap about Zach Wilson, I got to talk crap about Mac Jones because
he finally admitted it.
He's bad. Listen, I'll take the L. I'll take the L on Mac Jones. Okay. You happy?
Respect. Yep.
You happy?
Yep. Was that like the first? No.
That was.
I remember like a really early episode us arguing about Mac Jones.
I've defended
Probably like 100 episodes ago.
I've defended Mac Jones a lot. Yeah. I really thought he would be something. I really did. Mm-hmm. And you look at that rookie year. He was not bad in that rookie year. He got some votes for rookie of the year that year. I think Chase won it.
Right.
I'm going to look up his numbers right now. Oh, I want to see the rookie year.
The rookie year was great, but the rookie year was like peak Mac Jones. It was just like he's mid.
Yeah, it was 22
good
touchdowns.
System, you know, he did fine.
13 picks, 92 QB rating.
Yep.
Yeah, he's terrible. Mm-hmm. He's terrible. I mean, there's no other way around it. I was wrong. I don't think he goes elsewhere and is good. I don't think he has any help around him. I don't think he's in a good system at the moment, but I don't think he goes anywhere and is successful. I think he's just a broken guy. All right. Your Jets here. We're going to argue a little bit about New York Jets as they've opened the practice window for Aaron Rodgers, which is just mind-boggling to everybody. Was it 78 days?
Oh, well, yes.
Since he tore his Achilles, if he actually tore it.
Please.
Yeah, no, those people are crazy. Love conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. No, he didn't tear publicity stunt. He didn't tear his Achilles.
He actually didn't tear the Achilles.
Sprained his ankle. That's why his calf popped.
Yeah, we all saw it literally pop.
On fire.
Yeah, but he's back practicing. And JM, you disagree with me. I think if he is put on the field, if they put him on the football field, okay? You come back and practice, whatever. I don't give a rat's ass. You practice, do whatever you want. If they put this guy on the football field, everybody should go. I mean, there isn't a single soul I would keep on this coaching staff, front office,
come on, dude.
Anybody. I'd fire everybody because that would just be the biggest jet move of all time to put this guy, 40 years old, back on the field after he's going to be 40 in a few days, okay? Put this guy back on the field after tearing his Achilles.
I don't. If I'm so me personally as a Jet fan, like want him back, not just because it's like, oh, I want to see him in a Jet uniform playing. Obviously, that's a huge reason. But to go into next year with no experience with this team, with no gameplay, with nothing, I think that's a disadvantage. I think for him to come back, play these last couple of games. Now, obviously, he needs to be cleared from doctors. He needs to be 100% good to go. It can't be like, oh, you know, it's a little risky and he's still not 100% recovered. Then, no way. Like, he needs to be fully A-okay from doctors, not him personally says, I'm good. He needs to be 100% on his health report. Then I think it's dumb to not play him. I think... Oh, the O-line sucks. Okay. Well, if like I said in the beginning of the year, yeah, the O-line sucked. That was just bad luck that he got hurt 4 plays in. You had Zach Wilson. He stayed perfectly healthy through the whole entire season with the awful offensive line in front of him. So I think to just say, oh, the offensive line sucks, don't play him. No. And also for Rodgers' sake, the guy has worked his ass off doing record timing to come back here. Thanks also to the speed bridge surgery and accelerating that healing process and this and that. But, you know, nobody's ever come back this fast before. And the fact that he's already back in practice is just absolutely mind-boggling. And I think for him to come back, get 100% cleared from doctors, and then the Jets say, okay, we're not going to play you, is not right to him. And it's not right for the team as a whole. I think you got to get him out there with the guys.
And we're back to why I've always hated Aaron Rodgers. Because he's all about himself. The team is going to be out of it. There's no coming back. They are a putrid, awful football team at the moment. They have one of the worst offensive coordinators I've ever seen in my entire life calling plays at the moment. Okay? And a terrible offensive line.
This might be the stupidest thing you've ever said on the show. This might be the dumbest thing you've ever said. And you're going to bring
this guy back.
So
Hold on, no, I didn't get to the point why he's the worst human being in the world.
Yeah, keep going.
All he gives a rat's ass is about himself.
Right.
He only cares about himself.
The stupidest point I've ever heard.
And that's why he wants to come back. He wants to prove people wrong. And he said he wants to prove people wrong. He doesn't care about coming back for the team. If the Jets were in it and he was fighting to come back and the Jets had a chance to go to the playoffs and he was cleared 100% by every doctor, go ahead, go play. It's a great, miraculous story. He wants to come back for one reason, for himself and to prove people wrong. And for me, that just shows his selfish behavior once again. It's not about for the team. If he comes back, it's not about coming back for the team. There is no reason whatsoever to risk this guy possibly hurting something else or hurting the Achilles again when next season is going to be the year you have the best chance in your franchise's history, other than the year you actually won the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. Why even contemplate risking, even if it's a 0.05% chance of risking that for next season? Why in the world would you risk it? For nothing.
First of all, if he gets hurt in December, the season doesn't start until September, so he could tear his Achilles again and come back and be ready for OTAs.
That'll be good. That'll be good. The 40-year-old tearing his Achilles again and having to work with a weaker leg at 40 years old.
So what's the difference if he is 100% has full mobility, cleared from doctors? What's the difference from him coming back in December versus September when he's going to be 100% at either time? There's no difference. Are you a doctor? Do you understand fully how the Achilles works? Do you know better than the doctors? Say, no, don't clear him yet. It's been too soon. No.
There's no reason to risk anything.
And wait, let's dive into this crazy quote you just spilled out where he's a self-centered prick or whatever you said.
I didn't say that. I just called him selfish.
What you implied.
Don't put words in my mouth.
So athlete comes back from injury in record time and constantly says on a TV show every week that he misses his teammates, he misses being around the guys, he feels bad that he's not out there for the fans, and says nothing really about himself and, oh, I'm the greatest ever and this and that. All he says is, okay, yeah, give me all the doubters, give me this and that, because he does have a ton of doubters. So he comes back when his team isn't even in it and wants to play. That is being self-centered.
Yes.
To me, the opposite, it would be if somebody was healthy, came back, and their team was out of it, that would be a guy who doesn't care about the team, where they would say, oh, you know what, I don't even want to play, we're not even in it, there's no point. That, to me, would be the self-centered guy and say, who the hell is he? Who cares if his team's not in it? He should be with the team no matter what. He should treat every game the same. He should be out there with his teammates. That is self-centered. You're really saying the guy's a selfish,
all he cares
about is himself when he's working his ass off every single day to come back.
Oh, yeah. Come back for the team for what? For the fifth-string offensive lineman
the
receivers that suck outside of Wilson?
Who cares if it's for him or if it's for the team for why he's working so hard to come back right now? I don't care if he looks at himself in the mirror every night and starts making out with himself. As long as he's coming back to the Jets and working hard to be the Jets quarterback, I don't give a crap what he does in between his rehab assignments and what he says on TV. And by the way, he hasn't said anything controversial on TV except about making vaccine jokes, which are hilarious, by the way.
He wants to come back, and the first thing he said when he went on McAfee after the surgery was, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. He wants to prove his doubters wrong. Him coming back in a meaningless season, an absolute meaningless season, JM, I cannot believe you don't agree with this. Why? There is no point in coming back. You're out of it. You're not making the playoffs. Your offensive line is atrocious. Yes, JM, that is a concern for a 40-year-old man who has had injuries. That is a concern to me. A guy that doesn't have the same mobility as a Zach Wilson to get out of the pocket and avoid big hits. That is a concern to me, to bring this guy back for a 4-win team, for a 5-win team when he comes back. Come back in September with your leg fully 100% rehabbed, 100% at strength, 110% at strength. Do not come back to play 2 games against the Commanders and whoever else it is.
I think it's great for the team. I think it's great for Rodgers himself, for him to come back and play a couple games and going into next year and not deal with the BS of, oh, well, we still haven't seen him as a Jet. We saw 4 plays. Instead, we could say, oh, you know, the last couple weeks, maybe he wins a game. Yeah. Maybe he beats New England on the road. And now there's all this great buzz around this team going in next year.
Beating the 2-15 New England Patriots. Yeah, who cares? Beating the 2-15 New England Patriots.
Who we haven't beat in 8 years. We haven't beat them. We're 0-15 in our last 15 games against them. Yes, it would mean something to beat them. Just like you guys with the Cowboys.
Winning that game would actually hurt you guys because it just puts them closer
Oh,
to Caleb Williams in that last spot.
Okay, all right, mister. You beat the Patriots the other day. You know, all these Giants fans that are upset about this, I don't care. Look at all these quarterbacks that got picked in the top 3 over the past 10 years. None of them are that great. That was you the other day. But, of course, if it's the Jets, no, they're idiots. You're supposed to tank. No, the Giants can win with Tommy DeVito. That's all right. But God forbid we mess up our draft position.
No, I wasn't talking about your draft position. I was talking about the Patriots draft position. You win that game. You put them closer to Caleb Williams.
Okay, guys, let's not play Aaron Rodgers because we might beat the Patriots and give them a better draft position. Fire logic. You should be a GM.
I should.
Yeah,
I would. Listen, you want Mo Lewis, Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be tied together forever. Aaron Rodgers coming back and beating the Patriots and putting them in the 1 slot instead of the Bears. And Mo Lewis knocking out Drew Bledsoe.
You know what this all stems back to? You know what this all stems back to?
Selfish.
Common Michael Merlo, spineless, selfish moment.
He is selfish.
Merlo broke his ankle in the 8th grade, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And we had an important CYO playoffs coming up. And I bet you if he went out there, worked his ass off in rehab, in and out every day, we could have had our power forward, our offensive rebounding machine. Michael Merlo could have been out there for his team in the playoffs. Instead, you sat on your ass.
I did.
You sat on your ass.
Yeah,
and you didn't do anything, and we lost. And you know what? Maybe he didn't have the most points on the team. I didn't either. But guess what? He was the heart and soul of that team. Just like Aaron Rodgers, the heart and soul of the New York Jets. And Aaron Rodgers is saying, I want to come back and I want to help out the Jets. Michael Merlo in the 8th grade said, I know I'm the heart and soul of the team. I don't give a shit, though. I'm just going to sit on my ass and rehab for 6 months. You make me sick. Make me sick.
It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to bring this guy back this year. This is a lost season. Who gives a rat's ass if he plays a game against the Commies on Christmas Eve and the Patriots the next week, JM? If they bring him back and he gets hurt, everybody fired. Okay. Not a single soul left with a job or a home. Fire and make everybody homeless because that's how stupid of a decision it would be. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers, the GM, sucks. Okay, you want to go over the guys he's brought in?
Please. Come on.
Aaron Rodgers, the GM, sucks. I'm back on hating Aaron Rodgers.
And by the way, this whole thing that Rodgers, the GM, I don't think Aaron Rodgers was like, hey, Jets, you guys should sign Tim Boyle.
Oh, I'm fully convinced, and I read something yesterday. There are people in the NFL that believe that Aaron Rodgers easily has the most power out of any player whatsoever in the NFL
well,
today.
He is the greatest player to ever play the game, so that's
he's definitely not the greatest player to ever play the game.
He's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen throw football, and I said that when he was a Packer, not a Jet.
So you let this guy infiltrate your
crazy?
Team.
The Jets hire Robert Saleh from the 49ers, and then that offseason they sign a bunch of 49ers players that have played defense for the Niners or just been on the Niners in general or been in the Niners system. But then they hire Nathaniel Hackett and get some former Packers. And yeah, sure, maybe Randall Cobb was a throw-in guy for Rodgers.
Hold on.
You really think it's all Aaron Rodgers? Nathaniel Hackett didn't want these Packers guys.
Hold on.
Alan Lazard, he didn't want him. Yeah, that's all Rodgers. Before they got Rodgers.
Hold on. Okay. Do not bring up Nathaniel Hackett's name with any authority whatsoever.
Right.
Nathaniel Hackett is a joke. An absolute utter
joke.
He's
had he has zero creativity, and he's an Aaron Rodgers merchant, and 100% agreed.
Do not say that he made these decisions to bring these guys over, because the decision to bring in
are so
Hackett,
full of shit. You're not in the building, so you don't know who's making the decisions. You're just saying, Aaron Rodgers the GM, Aaron Rodgers that. You don't know anything. How do you know it wasn't Nathaniel Hackett? They signed Lazard before they got Rodgers.
Yeah, but it was,
You were in the Jets group chat. Aaron Rodgers saying, "Hey, Joe Douglas, I know I'm going to be there soon. Sign Lazard for me, so he's there when I get there."
They brought Hackett in there to get Aaron Rodgers. It's clear, because if they brought Nathaniel Hackett in to run any sort of offense without Aaron Rodgers, whoever made that decision should also be fired, because Nathaniel Hackett sucks. Clearly sucks. He sucks. They can't even run a somewhat competent offense with backup players. You score a couple of touchdowns a game. They make it impossible to score touchdowns. it's on the quarterback play. Sure, it sucks, but it's also on coaching because I see some really bad quarterbacks playing in the NFL right now. And by the way, the game at the moment sucks. Football sucks at the moment with the amount of bad players we see playing.
Kind of suck right now. There's too much defense going on.
And Nathaniel Hackett cannot figure out ways to score touchdowns with backup level players. You should still be able to do that, the bare minimum. And he's incapable of doing that. Okay. They would have every right to fire Nathaniel Hackett right now, but they won't. Because of Mr. Rodgers. Mr. Rodgers doesn't want him to go. So we got to listen to Aaron. You hear Robert Saleh speak the other day? When they asked him, do you want to change play callers? He paused for 15 seconds. Of course, he knew he was getting that question because the offense is terrible. He knew he was getting that question. He paused and he said, that's discussion for another day. Yeah, that's a really long answer. That. Do you know why he said that? Because he knows that Nathaniel Hackett is here because of Aaron Rodgers and they can't get rid of him. Robert Saleh is a smart guy being dragged in the mud by Joe Douglas and Aaron Rodgers.
Signed Nathaniel Hackett before Aaron Rodgers even went in his freaking darkness retreat. You really think the entire reason why they got Nathaniel Hackett was to lure Aaron Rodgers over here?
I'm fully convinced.
I'm sure it had something to do with it. I'm sure maybe there came down to a couple candidates and they said, if we could get Rodgers, I'm sure Hackett would be a real nice guy to pull over to pull Aaron over here. You really think they were just like, all right, guys, we don't care how this interview goes. We don't care what philosophies he has. We are hiring this guy to bring over Aaron Rodgers. If that actually happened, I don't even want to say fire everybody. Delete the franchise. I mean, just relocate everything.
I'm fully convinced that's why the Broncos signed him.
Why? Would you have a conversation with a guy at a bar or something?
I'm fully convinced that the Denver Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett to lure Aaron Rodgers there.
You can't just make these assumptions and then be like, fire everybody, this and that, just make ultimatums off of stupid conspiracy theories.
How about this, JM?
You're literally equivalent to that crazy guy on Facebook with all these ridiculous conspiracy theories. That's you right now talking about the Jets.
JM, if they hired Nathaniel Hackett without the idea of Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know if they did.
No, if they did that. If they're saying what you said, they would have hired him either way. Then they should really be fired. Yeah, then everybody should be fired.
Yes, I did. I just said that.
Then
yes,
everybody
correct.
should be fired
Mm-hmm.
because that's a bigger joke than anything else.
That is a joke.
That's how bad this guy is. Yep. That's how bad Hackett is. He's a hack. He's terrible.
Nice pun.
No football.
Move on. By the way, are you looking at this right now?
Yeah,
audio.
We were yelling.
Jesus
we
Christ.
were yelling.
We have the mixer in front of us with the audio levels. That last 10 minutes is just Jesus. I'm sorry to everybody's eardrums. Screaming match.
We're gonna do a little play calling here. We'll scrap NBA. We're gonna go right to college football because I'm guessing this is long right now.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go right to college football here as championship weekend is upon us.
Yeah.
We've got some great games. Georgia, Alabama. Friday night we've got Oregon versus Washington in Las Vegas, and that's where we'll start. We're in chronological order here. Oregon lost to Washington in Washington by a field goal, and that was a fantastic game. But JM, the point spread's 9.5 in this game.
That's great.
On a neutral field. Mm-hmm. They're telling you exactly what's going to happen. Listen, you got to give credit to Michael Penix. He's had a fantastic year. And he's going to get drafted, I think, very in the top 15, top 20 for sure. He's an older guy, but still, he'll get drafted by somebody.
Yeah.
I think their perfect season is going to end. I think it's going to be crashing down on Friday night in Las Vegas.
I agree, and I think that I understand the spread because I think in college we see this a lot where we'll see a team like Washington that, they've got Penix, they've got the receivers, and they're playing, some sexy football. They beat Oregon, like you said, by a field goal earlier in the year. I think this is just going to come down to mass versus mass and who can block who and who could push who in either direction. And I think Oregon clearly has the advantage there. So I get the spread. I know you're going to be on Oregon. I don't know if that's bias or not, but I know you're going to be on Oregon to cover this. I'm assuming that's your
9.5. That's my biggest bet of the weekend.
But yeah, I think Oregon wins here. They get into the Final Four with this win. We're going to get into the rest of the playoff, but one team in each Power 4 or Power 5 is
Yeah.
going to be represented here, and I think Oregon's going to be the one representing the Pac-12.
The Pac-12 was good this year. I mean, they had a lot of good teams, and they sort of died down at the end. USC was bad towards the end. UCLA lost a couple of games they shouldn't have. But Arizona was very good. Yeah. Washington, obviously, Washington State had a nice run. Oregon State was really good, too. Their coach just got hired by Michigan State. So there were a lot of good teams in the Pac-12, but it's not like usual where the Pac-12 would just get left out because the conference was weak. It was a strong conference this year, stronger than the ACC, in my opinion. I think you can make the argument it was stronger than the Big 12 as well. Yeah. But definitely the winner of this conference has to get in with just the play overall in the conference and the play of these two teams. I want to read you this. These are some hypothetical college football lines, okay, from a bookmaker. So we'll start with Oregon right now because we're on the Oregon and Washington train. So if Oregon played Georgia right now, the spread would only be 1 point in favor of Georgia. If Oregon played Michigan right now, the spread would be -2 in Oregon's favor. If Washington played Georgia today, Georgia would be 10-point favorites. And Michigan versus Washington, Michigan would be 7-point favorites versus Washington. So clearly, the books, Vegas, the rest of the college football world, they respect Oregon in a big-time way. And you mentioned it perfect. You nailed it right on the head when you mentioned Oregon could play up front. They'll push Washington around, and they can compete with the teams in the SEC, in the Big Ten, that normally push the Pac-12 teams around. They will not do that against this team. And their head coach is the former defensive coordinator from Georgia, Dan Lanning. He has done a great job with this team. He's got them prepared. He'll have them prepared. They're going to win this game. And I think they're going to win the national championship.
Well, that's a pretty bold statement out of you there, Mike.
Yep.
I mean, I hope it happens for you because, they do have great jerseys. And I think if they do win, that you should wear the jersey. Maybe order one.
I don't have one. I don't plan on ordering one.
Okay.
But, yeah.
By the way, Oceanside ripped them off. I mean, I know we kind of ripped Michigan off, but don't worry about that.
How did Oceanside? Oh, Oceanside ripped them off.
Oceanside ripped Oregon off.
Oceanside's a bunch of pansies.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes that football team.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to what people like. And by the way, we could argue for an hour on this. You're one of those people that wanted the expanded
Let's
playoff.
do a 2-hour podcast right now.
You are one of those people that wanted the expanded playoff. I was always against the expanded playoff. I would have went to 6, maybe 8 teams. I was okay with that.
Well, I never wanted 16.
12 is a lot.
12's a lot.
It's a lot.
If it was 8 right now, though, that'd be great.
I never said 16. I said I was okay with 6 or 8.
I said 16.
You said 16.
Really? Well, I
was like,
disagree with my old self if I would like 16.
No,
but if it was 8 right now, it'd be perfect.
I don't think so. Let's get into it, though, because this is the fun part. And this is what we're going to be missing next year, or whenever it starts. I think it's next year. It is. This is what we're going to be missing. This debate, this crazy, crazy debate of who's going to get in. So right now, college football playoff rankings as of November 28th, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State.
Ooh, slow down.
Georgia's 1, Michigan's 2, Washington's 3, Florida State's number 4. Oregon's number 5. So basically, let's just get this out of the way. Winner on Friday night goes to the playoff. Mm-hmm. Right? Oregon wins, they're in. Washington wins, they're obviously in. Okay?
Yep.
We're good with that?
Cool.
We're good with that.
I'm good with that.
Michigan, doesn't matter how much they win by.
Okay.
What?
One more time. Go back.
What?
Say what you just said. I got a notification on the computer, and I might have missed one thing you said.
Winner of Oregon, Washington. No matter
they're
what,
in.
they're
Yeah, 100%.
They're in.
My bad.
Okay.
Didn't mean to ignore you.
Michigan, no, they could win by 1 point. They're going to be in the playoffs.
Michigan
they're
wins,
in. They win.
Undefeated Big Ten champions.
Calling it right now.
In.
They're going to win the game. Okay.
Yeah. No.
They're going to win the game. I don't even
23-point favorite in Michigan. That's a bold statement. Calling it right now.
I meant like we're not going to discuss an alternative if they don't win the game. Michigan's in. So Michigan and Pac-12
I hope they lose now. That'd be great.
Okay. I'm going to write it down. Michigan and Pac-12 in. Okay.
Yep. No way 2 Pac-12 teams get it.
Right.
Zero
Only
chance.
1 Pac-12.
Yes.
Okay. So now this is where it gets tricky. Alabama's 8. They play number 1 Georgia. Mm-hmm. So the chaos scenario that people have been talking about for the last couple of weeks is what if Alabama beats Georgia? what happens? Because you already have a Pac-12 and Michigan. You have a Pac-12 and a Big Ten in there, no matter what. You already have 2 spots taken care of. You have to have an SEC team.
Yep.
So I'm writing SEC in here too now. So now I have 3 spots already gone by 3 conferences.
Yep.
Okay? SEC's in, Michigan's in, and Pac-12.
Because if Bama wins, yes, they got the loss to Texas, but they got the win against Georgia, which alone should get them in. They beat, Ole Miss. They beat LSU. They beat Auburn, which Auburn's not great, but they're in. If they beat Georgia, they're in.
Here's the question I'm going to ask for you. Okay?
Yes.
And you'll see in my visual here. Let's say
Awful handwriting.
Let's say Georgia loses. So Georgia's a 1-loss team. They're a 1-loss non-conference champion. And Alabama wins, but Texas wins also. Bama's here at 8. Texas is here at 7. And Georgia's all the way up here at 1. How do you get these 2 ahead of number 1 Georgia?
But
how does that happen?
I think Georgia's got to be out, because if you want to use that logic, then if I'm Ohio State, I'm saying, whoa, where am I then? If you're going to apply that logic to say, you say Georgia bounces out, they lose to, or you say Georgia loses to Alabama, they still deserve to be in. If I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm saying, well, we had 1 loss, and it was to Michigan on the road in the Big House by less than by 1 score. So if you're going to apply that logic, I think then Ohio State should be in. So, I think the biggest thing about the college football playoff that needs to be addressed is, we say it in sports all the time, what have you done for me lately? If you have 1 loss versus other teams have 1 loss, but you're a team like Alabama, I'm just using them as an example, they lost week 3 of the college football season, I'm going to take a week 3 loss over a week 13 or whatever week it is now.
So I think the biggest issue, there's 2 big issues the committee has right now. Okay? Number 1 is Texas. Because Texas has the win in Alabama, yes, in week 3, but they went to their house and beat them, okay? You cannot take that away from Texas. And they have them ranked ahead of them. And they're most likely going to have a conference championship, Big 12 conference champion. They're going to be at 7. They're going to jump. Obviously, they win this game. It's so confusing, because then we haven't even talked about Florida State, who lost Jordan Travis, their starting quarterback. And if the committee is committed to doing what they say, and that is putting the 4 best teams in the college football playoff, they have to sit there and look themselves in the mirror and say, are the Florida State Seminoles one of the 4 best teams, even though they're 13-0 and the ACC champion? Are they one of the 4 best teams with their backup quarterback, and do they deserve to be in the college football playoff? Because by this logic, and we both agree on this, they could be 13-0. They could win against Louisville on Saturday. I don't believe they should be in.
Me neither. I think listen, hats off to them. Great season. It's unfair. We'll put you in a good bowl game, but if they get in, they're getting steamrolled by whoever's number 1.
And that's the problem. You're putting a team in that is not as good as these teams. Yep. And you're basically giving, if it's Georgia, you're giving Georgia a cakewalk game in the first game.
My scenario is, I'm giving my 4 here, right? And I'm forecasting what's going to happen in the games on Friday and Saturday. I'm going to say that Oregon wins.
So you have Oregon.
I have Oregon. I got Michigan winning. Michigan's in. I got Georgia beating Alabama. Okay. Georgia's in. That last team, okay? Texas beats Oklahoma State. Ohio State, they don't even have a game, correct?
No.
Ohio State's done?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to Texas or Ohio State. I think Ohio State deserves to have their hat in the ring here. Because if I'm looking at both these teams, Texas versus Ohio State, and everything I said that's going to happen this weekend happens. Texas, 1 loss. Ohio State, 1 loss. Texas, Big 12. Ohio State, Big 10. You could argue with which one's better. I think a lot of people would agree Big 10's a better conference. Ohio State's got some pretty good wins under their belt. That win against Notre Dame earlier in the year, yeah, sure, Notre Dame didn't end up being as good as we thought they were going to be. Still a pretty damn good football team on the road as well. Great win for them. The Buckeyes have 1 loss on the road in the Big House, maybe the toughest place to play in the entire college football landscape. Less than a touchdown. That's a big rivalry. They haven't been able to beat them over the years. What is it, 3 in a row now? Michigan's won.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm Ohio State. I say Texas loses to Oklahoma, their rival, and they were home. That's a classic college football rivalry. That's a game that they should have won. They were probably favored a little heavier. And I know they were favored heavier in terms of spread in that game. I'm Ohio State. I lost to my rival, my conference rival, my biggest rival that I have in my program's history, who are a better ranked team. I was on the road. I wasn't favored. I was the underdog in the game, and I lost by less than one score.
It's really tough.
I think I should be. I think that Ohio State should be the fourth team in over Texas. Alabama's gone if they lose to Georgia. They're done. Washington loses to Oregon. They're done. If I'm Ohio State, I got a pretty strong argument to get me in. And Florida State, I don't want to just push Florida State to the side. They win 13-0 season. That's great. ACC, that's my problem. ACC, backup quarterback, and I don't want to take it away from them and say, well, that's unfair, so we lose our quarterback. We're just supposed to not make the playoff now? If, like, you were watching that Kirk Herbstreit tweet while we were on break, he said the college football committee's the college football playoff committee, their job is to put the 4 best teams in the playoff. They're not one of the 4 best teams with a backup quarterback in the ACC.
Ohio State, the teams that have a harder strength of schedule according to ESPN that I'm looking at right now. Indiana, Rutgers, Florida, Michigan State, Ole Miss, and then it's Ohio State.
Yep.
So they have played one of the tougher schedules in the entire country, and they're not going to be in. I understand what you're saying. I really do. I understand exactly where you're coming from. It's so difficult because then I can ask you this. Oregon has 1 loss. It's to Washington, which they're not being punished for. They're not being punished for that loss. But I believe that Oregon can be punished for their wins. They don't have many great wins on the season. And again, the Pac-12 was better this year. 100%. It was a tougher conference, but they don't have one of those standout wins. They don't have a win in South Bend like Ohio State does. Yeah. They don't have that. Yeah. So it is really difficult. They don't even have a Penn State. Yeah. Going to Penn State and beating a Penn State, they don't have that win. It's really difficult. And Florida State's another conversation that has to be had. I think Florida State and Texas are the biggest issues here.
I think it's crazy to just not put Ohio, not even consider Ohio State. I think it's unfair, and I understand. They didn't make it to their conference championship. They played Michigan. It's just the way the Big Ten is built. It goes east and west, correct?
So stupid.
Just because they were in the conference of their conference and they lost to Michigan, who's clearly the best team in that conference, that was really the conference championship. Iowa, Michigan is not the Big Ten championship. Michigan, Ohio State was the Big Ten championship.
I think it'll be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Texas. That's my 4. That's what I think it'll be.
And I think Texas gets killed by Georgia versus I think Ohio State would give Georgia a tougher time.
Yes, we saw that last year too. Yeah. What happened last year?
Field goal at the end of the game.
Didn't Ohio State get in?
I'll be completely honest with you. It was right when the clock hit 12 for New Year's Eve, and I was pretty intoxicated by that point.
No, I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about this exact. So the Ohio State scenario to get in. Okay, this is how Ohio State gets in. Okay, Pac-12 does not matter. Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Pac-12 in, Texas loses, Florida State loses. That scenario, not exactly because it wasn't as difficult, but the scenario for where Ohio State was able to get in happened last season because they got in without beating Michigan and without getting in the Big Ten championship game. So they need that to happen.
And I don't think the committee regrets that decision. They put up a great fight.
It was a fantastic game. They had a game-winning field goal. They almost beat Georgia. Yeah. It was a low spread too, and that wasn't a great Ohio State team. And they had Stroud, and Stroud was amazing in that game. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm excited. My prediction is Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Texas. Jam, you're right. You're right about Ohio State.
My prediction. Well, I don't want to say my prediction. If I was on the committee, mine would be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State.
And I don't want to agree with you, but Ohio State is one of the 4 best teams in the country. I will say that.
Yep.
All right. 117 in the books. How long was it?
We're 109 right now.
All right, not bad.
Pretty up to par with what we usually do. A lot of just 109 of straight pigskin.
Yeah, a lot of pigskin.
A lot of football.
Felt like we were gone for a while. It
Yeah.
was the first break in 3 months.
Yep.
And it felt like a very long time.
Yep.
All right, so we'll be back next week. Look out for the gambling show this weekend. Like we mentioned before, Severino's a Met. There'll be a lot of news by next week.
A lot of baseball next week.
Yeah.
We didn't get to the NBA here. By next week, it'll be a lot of NBA and MLB talk next week. We'll be in the in-season tournament more.
Winter meetings, yeah.
Winter meetings, exactly.
So,
Brian
yeah.
Cashman will probably say something moronic again.
Brian Cashman's going to be Jesus Christ for Yankee fans this winter. I
hope
can't
so.
wait to see it.
I hope so.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next time.